All right, gentlemen and ladies, we are back after a long hiatus. I have recently moved to New York. A lot of you already know that, but the settling in process and starting a new job has been, it's been mostly smooth. Did a whole bathroom remodel, been doing just a lot of things. And the people in the Discord know all about it. They're always seeing pictures of my bathroom remodel, and probably to their annoyance. But they know that I've been pretty busy, and I feel like it's time to get away for a second and commit some time back to the videos. So, thought we would do something a little different today. And you know how the channel is pretty much all maintenance. It always has been maintenance. But when you properly maintain your trucks, you feel better about modifications and changes you might do to them for creature comforts or just a better quality of life while on the road. And everyone that owns a Tacoma knows it's not the most comfortable ride out there. And I know some of you are thinking, well, it's a truck, I don't need it to be comfortable. Of course not. But these mostly simple mods and changes are things that improve ride quality. God, there's so many here. You know what? I'm going to shut up and we're just going to talk about them. And I'm going to do it in a way where I tier them out between what most of us have seen, various sets of tiers. So S being what I'm going to call epic or super, the highest tier. And then I'll even talk about some Fs where don't bother with it. It's gonna be a waste of money, or it's just downright stupid. So I say that some of you might like these F mods that I don't do. Some of them I did do when I was younger, but I didn't know any better back then. But to each their own. So we'll dive right into it. And I'm just going to kind of bounce around between the tiers as I feel fit. It's just going to be a rather smooth flow. But we will start with a D tier. And D is not a bad thing. D is just, it's nice to have. It really is. And so first up on the line, D tier, is going to be a dash cam. And I have caught some really crazy things on my dash cams in the times I've had them. In fact, when I put one on my wife's, what was she driving at the time? Her Honda CR-V, her last gen Honda CR-V at the time. The first day she had it, she caught a wreck at an intersection. No one was hurt. No one was hurt bad, thankfully. But dash cams, depending on what state you live in, can aid police reports, can definitely help in insurance situations. Every state has different laws, but I like the VOFO VS1. You've probably seen it on the channel because it's small. It does not have a back screen at all, uses very little power, but has a beautiful picture. So for me, a good first entry-level kind of D tier is going to be a dash cam. And by the way, everything I talk about here, I've had for quite some time, and I wouldn't put on the list if I didn't actually believe in it and think it was a good item. So with that being said, all of these items will be down below. You can follow a link to it. Granted, they're affiliate sales, so if you buy, say you like the floor mats I got and you buy it, and I don't know, they're $100 or something like that, Amazon's going to pay me $3. Don't let that ever get convoluted or mixed up with the idea that I'm trying to peddle you anything. I would rather die or shut down the channel before I felt like I was being gimmicky and just trying to peddle you off some crap. If it's on the list, it's because I like it or I love it in some cases. And many of these you can't even buy on Amazon or anything like that. Many of these can be had locally, maybe even some of them. But I always want to be honest with you up front. So links below, they're Amazon affiliate links, meaning I think Amazon gives me like a 2 or 3% of their profit or their cut. Doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out and keeps the lights on for the channel. All right, moving on. I'm going to tell you right now, I have not talked on camera to the channel for a while, so I'm probably going to monologue a lot. But I guess hopefully get used to my ugly face. When I go into editing, I'll cut out a lot of this crap. Okay, so D tier, dash cam. Moving on, let's do a C tier, and I better mark these off on my screen as I do it, otherwise I'm going to repeat myself. Layers. Okay, let's do a C tier. Okay, Fumoto drain valve. Now, there's multiple drain valve options out there, and Fumoto is probably the most popular. They really are great people. I've worked with them extensively for the channel. And I've ran for motos almost, almost exclusively on my vehicles. I'll talk about another valve here in a little bit, but I really do like Fumotos. There's pros and cons to them. Pros being the simplicity of an oil change. It's just remove a plastic clip and then flick down a little metal lever and let it drain. And yeah. But yeah, so Fumoto drain valves, you can put that on pretty much any vehicle. They've got thread pitch or thread patterns for every oil pan under the sun and then some. Okay, let's do a B tier headlight upgrade. Cannot say enough about a headlight upgrade. Now, you can pay out the butt for some crazy headlight upgrades, which I would never do personally, especially for an item that can be, it's not common to break a headlight, but it's so exposed. Just to put that kind of money into headlights is kind of crazy. I'm running these right here, and I like them a lot. I really do, and they can also be had on Amazon for pretty stinking cheap. But I show you on the channel here how to do a complete removal and install of new headlights, regardless of whatever brand you settle with. I like subtle look of an upgraded headlight. I don't like those crazy ones. Like, look at my blinkers. They can do math when I'm taking a turn. I don't like that fancy stuff. You know me. My truck is generally I call it like OEM plus, where it's just a little bit more. All right, let's go to an A tier, which I consider a must. Okay, we'll start with rear shocks, but upgraded rear shocks, being 5100s, are a massive upgrade to ride quality. And this is something you could wait on until your old shocks start bouncing and wobbling a little bit. You don't have to go out and get these right away. But for the money, I think most of us can agree 5100s. You know, I'll just talk about the 5100s front and rear. But for the money, those shocks that lift, I guess we could call it, is best bang for buck. I've done it on 4Runner, Tacoma. I've done it on 3 Tacomas and a 4Runner so far, the 5100 setup, and I never max them out because the fronts are height adjustable. Got a video on it. I won't go into too much detail here. But the 5100s really are a great ride quality advantage or upgrade to our trucks. It makes it feel less like a kind of like a boat around turns and more like a truck should feel, kind of a good stiff feel, and that's what we want. All right. I owe you guys an S tier Alright, S tier, which I consider epic, and for most of us, I feel like you need it. And the first S tier on here is really cheap, well, depending on which method you go, but seat jackers. If you don't know what seat jackers are, you've been living under a rock, but what it's doing is raising, assuming you have the manual adjust seats like many of our Tacomas have, if not most, the angle, the pitch of the front of the seat is very uncomfortable, regardless of what your height is, because it does not support the backs of the thighs correctly. I'm a hair over 6 feet. I'm almost 6'1", and after like 2 to 3 hours of driving, I'd really feel it in my hips. And you think, oh, he's just a baby. Well, I'm a baby, but many people were reporting this. The pressure that would be put on your hips, which would spread to your upper back on trips, was a problem. And I'm not alone in this. Look up, Google search back pain Toyota Tacoma, and you'll see what I mean. But this seat jackers, whether you go with the cheap brand or the original Desert Does It brand, I talk about both in a video, are going to raise the front of your seat up 1 1/4 inch, if I recall right. And you think that's not much. 1 1/4 inch is a lot. It is. All right. Anyway, it's no more pain, and I've driven everywhere. I recently completed a trip from Colorado to upstate New York driving my truck. 0 pain. Okay, let's go to a nah section down here. So what does nah mean? Okay, so nah to me is just something don't waste your money on, and we'll start right off with everyone's favorite, a cold air intake. Brother, what does that even mean? You're pulling the same air from under the hood. All these boxes are reporting these horsepower gains, yet no one's actually putting on a dyno and showing us proof in the pudding. cold air intake. Our trucks are not performance vehicles. We don't need big conical filters on the outside. All you're asking for is more dirt and debris, less likely for water intrusion. Sure, it looks cool, and it also sounds arguably neat if you like a whistle, maybe, depending on which one you get. I feel like the K&N is known to whistle a little bit. It's been a while since I looked at these. In a while, I mean high school, but cold air intakes, there's so much better things to put your money in on your truck. I digress. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But cold air intakes, don't believe the hype. It's not. I shut up now. All right. Okay, we'll knock out 2 birds with 1 stone so this video doesn't run forever. But the next up in the D tier, both actually relate to a dash cam, but it's pretty cool, so don't skip ahead, even if you don't like dash cams. I'll tell you why. It's made by, the first one is Dongar, I think is the brand, but what it does, and you can get this on many vehicles that have powered or rear view mirrors that have a power line running to them. It's just a simple adapter that allows your dash cam to draw power from your rear view mirror wire. There's no splicing. It is always plug and play. So check that out. And I'll link the one to our Tacomas below. The next one, again, is dash cam related, but it will literally turn your dash cam into a 24-hour camera. So wherever you park your truck, your dash cam is watching that area. And if you have a decent dash cam that's good in day and night, you're always recording, which is definitely useful if you live in a bad area or something like that. But the way it works is if it senses that the battery might be getting below a certain threshold, which is a very small threshold, but it will kill the power to the dash cam rather than hurting or draining your battery. I've never had that happen, and no one should, but putting an adapter like this allows, again, to run a dash cam all the time, which has its purposes. All right, moving on. I recently did the video for us with the Redline lifts. Hey, my dogs are getting feisty. I recently did a video with the Redline Hood lifts, and this is just another, is a cool, I'm going to call it cool, not a must-have, but a cool. It's raising your hood higher than the regular hood strut puts it, and it obviously is just a really neat thing to have for your hood to whoosh open. In fact, I have right behind the camera here is my 4th gen Tacoma, and I already know that's one of the first things I'm going to do because it's such a nice creature comfort to get the hood up higher out of the way when working on the engine. All right, moving on. Okay, camper shell. I'll be brief on this. You either love them or you hate them, or you just don't care. But camper shell for me is a lifesaver when I'm transporting my dogs, which I want to keep them out of the rain or the weather, or really anything. Now I've got my 3rd gen right here, which I'll pan across to later, and my 4th gen right here. I'm not going to cap my 4th gen because I already have my 3rd gen capped. I don't need to. So when I need like watertight transport, I go in the 3rd gen. When I'm going to Cincinnati for Thanksgiving this year, and the dogs of course going with, I'm going to take the 3rd gen. 4th gen will stay cozy right here. Yeah, camper shells, although pricey, definitely have their advantages. Okay, a must section. I have a very small fuse block under the hood of my 3rd gen right now. Oh, I say fuse block. We all have fuse blocks, but I'm talking about an accessory fuse block to add extra things to our vehicles, to our trucks. So right now on my fuse block on my 3rd gen, I've got my camper shell lights wired up, what else is wired up to it? Goodness. Oh, yeah. My aftermarket phone chargers I installed on my 3rd gen are wired up to the fuse block. There's 2 more things that escape me right now, but the ability to simply and neatly add things to a fuse block that is, of course, powered by your truck is just going to allow you to add accessories. And, I mean, that's what we do with our trucks. We accessorize. So, epic. Okay. I now live in the Rust Belt. And that is simply meaning that I live in one of the, I think, majority of states still that salt the roads in the winter for good reason. It melts the snow, prevents ice to an extent. But the belly of my truck has fluid film on it. And I did a video on it. Y'all have probably seen it, or maybe not. It's not cold outside all that much yet. But fluid film, of course, is going to be that never drying layer that's going to go up under the belly of our vehicles and prevent rust from happening, or most of it anyway. Like every rust prevention application, you'll be applying it seasonally, at least once a year. But it's very easy to do. And you can also take your vehicle and go somewhere to get it done. But I cover how to do it in a video here on the channel. You're going to save money and have a nice setup to keep doing it yourself if you DIY it. Don't do it. I'm just going to say it real simply. Don't buy a cheap lift for a nice truck. Our third gen, all of our Tacomas are worth more than a basic entry-level rough country lift. You're going to get what you pay for in the lift world. You're going to get, if you don't pay, I don't want to knock down certain brands, but it's a well-known fact that there's cheap lift options out there that you just want to avoid, and generally rough country is one of them. I don't think they've upped their game yet. They do have some nice things, but I would never invest in a cheap lift. It's just not where it's not safe. You're not going to like the ride quality. You'll be getting squeaks in no time. Just don't do it. All right, nice section. Where you put your phone when you drive? Can you tell me below? Where do you put your phone when you drive your trucks? I've had a plethora of phone mounts in my third gen, and I finally realized that less is more, and I've got I did a video on most of these things, so if you want to explore further, see below. But I did a fly. Get out of here, fly. I wonder if you could hear him land. I did a video on this, a Night Eyes Steely Orbiter. I think Steely something, and it's great. It's so simple and such a indestructible little way to mount your phone. So a good quality phone mount is very important and the safe way to go. My 2016 third gen does not have CarPlay or anything more than like that itty bitty little screen. So I use my phone for navigation and I mount it right there, and it's also not obstructing my view. All right, a cool mod most of us have already done, but I've already, in my opinion, proven it. The air dam does nothing sound-wise. I took audio test to it to check the decibel readouts on an unmodified truck of my friends before and after the air dam was taken off. And I'll tell you, there are some people that swear they get better gas mileage with it on, but I don't think they took the time to take it off and test it either. I've never been able to find a difference with it on or off. Thankfully, my fourth gen is a TRD off-road, and Toyota was smart enough not to even bother putting that thing on. But you've seen the TRD Sports and SR5s and SRs with the air dams and how they look like a giant beaver tooth stuck into the ground. It's the goofiest looking thing, but Toyota knows you're going to take it off. They just meeting regulations. All right, a great mod. This is funny. Third gen, you can't even put a basic Nalgene bottle in the cup holders. It's just not going to fit. This fly likes me a lot, but it's not even going to fit. So it's very easy to buy a Z Precision cup holder and replace your factory cup holder. No tools. Phillips screwdriver, if I remember correctly, is all that's needed for a very simple install of an upgraded cup holder. It looks good too. It looks better. Get off my coffee. Fly. Get out of here. Okay. Yeah, got a video on it. But now I can fit a larger water bottle into my truck. And I mean, I'm kind of a military doofus. So if you can't have your Nalgene with you covered in stickers that is your entire personality, then no one will know who you are. So no, I'm not even carrying a Nalgene now sometimes, but I found this Yeti bottle I like more, and it fits in my 4th gen cup holders when the Nalgene does not. Shame on you, Toyota, for doing it to us again.
And I got no more of that, because now a big boy cup's got a proper home. Look at that. I'm so happy. Did this, saw the video. Thank you, Greg and Ty. You rock.
You are welcome, and I'm so glad your coffee cup has a good resting spot. I also like that cup holder a lot. And yeah, man, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of the Discord from basically the beginning and spreading the good word. I'll see ya. Okay, a must-have. Again, a lot of this is opinion-based, and that's fine. I'm just going to tell you my opinion. Don't treat it as fact, but I've done this for a while. Upgraded headlight bulbs for our third gens, I think, is a great thing. In fact, LEDs. Now, you might be of that variety of person that says, "Ooh, LEDs, what are you doing? You're trying to blind people." Brother, they are hardly brighter unless you're buying some strange black market LEDs. And what's infinitely more important than the train of thought lost, then the brightness of them is the aiming of them. And I show you how to do that in the video, but I really like Auto One. Nancy from Auto One I've worked with for some time now, and she's great. But Auto One has a lot of great things. In fact, small tangent, at this very time, I'm giving away a couple awesome Auto One battery jumpers that Auto One sent me for this very purpose. In fact, here they are. Yep, small jump starter and large one, and I'll go about them in detail a little bit too. But if you're interested in these, you really should get in the Discord, because the amount of things that we've given away in the Discord is massive. I mean, we have given away, I just gave away DeWalt impact wrench, impact sockets, and a battery. We've given away Baxter adapters, tow hooks, oil filters, goodness. Oh, an OTT tune. God, if I added up how much we've given away, it would be probably pushing north of a couple $1,000s at this point. Hopefully my wife's not watching this, but anyway, no, she lets me do anything, and I never hear repercussions about it, ever. Right, Lana? Right. What was I saying? Yeah, get in the Discord, because everyone's helping each other in there, and now there's a leveling system in there. So the more helpful and communicative, or is that a word? The more you talk and hang out in the Discord, which doesn't have to be much at all, you level up. And when you level up, you get more entries into the free giveaways. I don't want your email address. I don't want any of that dumb stuff. I've created, I should really say we've created, because we have a community that's not only on the YouTube channel but also in the Discord, and there's several hundred members in there right now. I don't know if we have 500 yet, but it's growing and it's active, and as it grows, it's only going to become more active, and that's really the goal. Everyone can help everyone, because when I'm busy, which has been a lot lately, that's why the channel's been kind of silent for a few weeks, other people are helping each other. And a key word on I should be introducing at some point here soon, Austin has joined the team as well. So often when you ask a question in the YouTube, the reply might be answered by Austin, and he is a subject matter expert on things Tacoma and is there to help. So he is officially part of the team. Y'all are all part of the team. Thanks for subscribing. That's so corny, but he's officially part of the team, and will answer questions mostly on YouTube, occasionally in the Discord. And Austin, if you're watching this, thanks, man. Thanks. It's very helpful. It allows me to go about my day and do regular government work. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's move on to, I told you I was going to ramble. Let's move on to Epic. And an Epic. Oh, I already covered that one. Okay. And I'm going to hold off on an Epic, because I only have 4 Epics. So sorry. I know. Lame. Epics I was very picky on. Where was I? Let's go back down to a nice item. For aesthetic reasons mostly, I really like bug deflectors on my Tacoma, my 3rd gen. I don't know if I'm doing it to my 4th gen yet, but I think it's just a really good looking addition, and it kind of gives it that angry eyebrow. I hate that word, actually, because the angry Jeep grill was the dumbest looking thing that certain Wranglers are cursed with by their owners. So forget I said angry look. Maybe just, I don't know, masculine, if that's what you're going for. But I like the aesthetic look of a bug deflector on the 3rd gen, and I have one. Mine is by AVS. I'll link it below. And I can't tell you how many bugs it's deflected in its life so far, because I have no idea. I don't know what it looks good. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Next up, a winch. Winch is not for everyone. I got one on my 3rd gen now. I might get one on my 4th gen as well. Because of where I live and the crazy amount of snow we get here sometimes. At least I've been told. I moved here in the summer, but I'm expecting the typical snowstorm up here can be a couple feet, but it's not so uncommon for it to exceed 5 feet. And maybe my wife gets stuck, maybe I get stuck, maybe a friend gets stuck on the way to work, and I get to be the guy that helps them out. I've also been using it for yard work and pulling shrubs and bushes that I no longer want. So I consider that a cool thing to have. Not a must, a cool. And I have the Warren Evo 10, and I bought it with steel cable and re-spooled it with synthetic. Because it saved me like $150 or $200 to put my own line on it instead of paying the upcharge for the Warren one that came pre-spooled. It was dumb. And I got 100 feet of perfectly good steel cable that I have absolutely no use for sitting in the corner of my garage. All right, great mod. Now, Fumoto's great, it really is. But I've for a while now, I've been using Lavam Max, and like everything, I got a video on it. But Lavam Max has got a unique spin on the Fumoto, but in short, I think on the exterior, it's more durable. It's smaller and does not hang as low as the Fumoto, and has a neat way to drain. So the Lavam Max system it's pretty ingenious. I like it a lot. So go check that out below. All right. You know, I thought about putting this next one on the epic tier, but I kept it on the must. So I guess I could change it, but I could change it in editing, but that's silly. Sumo Springs. Okay, you probably read about them before, but you've never actually seen them in action. Everyone knows on our trucks, and really most trucks, but our trucks especially, when you put a few 100 pounds of anything in the bed, it just sags, and it doesn't look like a truck anymore. It looks like you're driving I don't know, it looks silly. And so Sumo Springs is considered just an enlarged bump stop that's going to reduce the amount of travel and not let the leaf springs bottom out all the way up on your truck. And it's not just an aesthetic thing by any means. It's also going to prevent pitch and tilt around corners, because as your truck leans just a bit, that tiny gap that's between the Sumo Spring and the top in the frame is so small that the truck can't roll in a negative way around a turn. So it improves handling a lot. And it improves or reduces, if not completely eliminates, sag when you put things in the bed of your truck, which is great. And they come in 2 different flavors, and I got a video on it. All right. Okay, let's do another epic. So I've talked about it a lot. You've probably heard about it. But 3rd gen owners with our 3.5 V6, we are plagued with an underpowered, sluggish get up and go of a truck. Mostly to blame on Toyota, because the tune or the settings within the ECU from the factory are just so sluggish in order to, what they thought, achieve maximum MPGs. It's bad. It is. And I love my Tacoma, but let's be honest. Something needed to happen, and that's where Overland Taylor made and gave us, or blessed us with the OTT tune. I think that is, if not the single best upgrade you can possibly get for your truck. It's pretty dang close to it. I got nothing to gain from saying this. I like the company, but the difference between a tuned and factory truck is noticeable immediately. I mean, watch the video I got on it, form your own opinions, but don't knock it till you try it. At least try a buddy's truck that has it. It really is a needed thing. Moving on. Okay, a nice to have. No, you know what? Let's go down to a nah. Okay, what did I put down here? Oh yeah, all right. So if you want a very cheap, basic way to lift the front of your trucks, many people will turn to a very budget spacer lift. Many people have done it successfully. However, keep in mind, too tall of a spacer lift, which is sitting above your coilover, sitting at the top of the coil or the shock enclosure or shock wrap, sitting on the top of your coilover, is going to be literally a block of generally machined aluminum. It's almost always machined aluminum. that's going to push that entire coilover system downward. Okay, doesn't sound like the end of the world, except if you go too far, one of the biggest negatives is your upper control arm can tend to rub on the coil spring of that coilover, and you're putting unusual angles on your suspension that your truck was not supposed to have. There's significantly better ways to lift it, namely a preload lift. I'm not going to get into the details. This video will never end. But I want you to, before you purchase a spacer lift for your trucks, as cheap as they may be, look up the pros and cons. Biggest pro being cost, biggest con being a change in geometries of your front suspension that is unnatural for the truck and may cause, if not likely to cause, issues down the road. To each their own. So that's something I'm not ever going to bother with. All right, let's do a nice. Okay, so we all have skid plates. I got tired of removing the bolts on our skid plates just to get to the oil, to change the oil. So I found these on Amazon, these great little hand screws. Same thread pitch, screws right up and holds your skid plate on. My entire third gen oil change can be done with 0 tools, thanks to a Baxter adapter also, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, no tools, no wrench, no nothing. Everything's done by hand, I guess, unless you consider a funnel a tool. I don't need anything. You don't even need a funnel. You can use a 1-quart bottle cut down to size, if you know what I mean. Cool. Oh, this, I already talked about this one, but this pairs well with the winch in that synthetic line. Synthetic has many advantages over steel. Doesn't rust, arguably more durable, significantly lighter. Comes in cool colors, does not hold the what's the dangerous elasticity that a steel cable will have when it snaps. I'm forgetting the word right now. I'm nervous. I'm on camera. Shoot, man. Anyway, we've all seen horror stories where a hook comes off or a steel cable snaps, and people can often die. Synthetic cable's much safer. Still use a winch saver or a God, I can't think of my words right now. Still use a winch pad saver to reduce the momentum on a snapped cable regardless. You always should. But yeah, synthetic line is the way to go. It's the future. All right, great mod. Front bumper. You probably saw the video we did, but I really like Backwoods Adventure mods. They've got a unique bumper being that it is 90% aluminum. And except for the winch plate's steel as it should be, but the entire system is only 84 pounds, I believe, which is great because our trucks aren't that big. And when you put 250 pounds of steel front bumper on the front, you just don't need it. Now, there's a time and place for a full steel bumper, but for me, as a more of a daily commuter and sometimes backroad enthusiast who likes the aggressive look and also, yeah, there's a lot of good reasons why I went with Backwoods Adventure mods. Watch the video to find out more. Okay, a must-have. Again, a lot of this opinion-based, but I'm going to tell you what I think is a must-have. I found some seat covers I really liked on Amazon. They look great. They're incredibly affordable. I've had them for a couple months now, I think. They look, obviously, they still look new, but they're a leather-type seat cover. They're not hot in the summer, and they're so easy to wipe down. I've always kept my seats covered, but for the short times they weren't covered and the cloth was exposed, I didn't like it because I was just grinding dirt, snacks, sodas from big gulps into the cloth, but a seat cover changes all that, and these look really dang good. So check these out if you want a decent, very affordable seat cover. Excuse me. Okay, wheel spacers. Again, these were more popular a decade ago, if not 2 decades ago. I don't see them as much unless you live in Hawaii, and then they're just nuts for wheel spacers. But pushing your wheels out has its pros and cons. Biggest pro would be a wider stance. Wider stance is less rollover chances. What you're doing on the negative side is you're pushing out your wheels, and it's creating a pressure on your wheel bearings that previously didn't exist. Now, will it lead to premature wheel bearing and suspension wear? Premature wheel bearing wear and suspension wear? Maybe. You're going to fling mud and rocks up on the side of your vehicle. You're going to look like a goofy kid. You can run them and be fine. I just don't like them. So that's me knocking wheel spacers because I think it's purely aesthetic and it's just not doing anything truly positive for your vehicle while likely adding more wear to the overall wear and tear. All right, nice to have. A little thing, and in fact, I'll show you a buddy in the Discord who got it, but just a little, this one's small, a Toyota trailer hitch plug. Everyone's got to have it because if you don't have that plug in when you're not towing, something is going to move into your trailer hitch and hibernate. That's a joke, but something, yeah, anyway, so trailer hitch plug.
So this came in today from Team Oil Drop. Won this on Discord. And it's gonna go right there. Easiest install ever. Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
There, and I zoomed in, I noticed you got like ants or baby spiders crawling around. They've taken over your truck. I will warn you in the Discord. Now this is really cool to have, and I've used it in camping and other various scenarios, but it's very easy to wire up your truck bed with a power adapter. Excuse me, it's getting late. I've talked a lot. Where you can have a voltmeter or showing your current battery's charge, car battery, obviously, and then a 12-volt adapter, cigarette lighter style adapter, and then just like an on and off switch, but also USB ports. USB-C, I think, is what I have on mine. Maybe 2 Cs or maybe one basic USB-A and then a C. I can't remember. But it's really good to have in your truck bed in addition to the already 400, 100 watt power outlet you have back there. Yeah, so I'm going to consider that a cool, not a must, but a cool. All right, this next one, I can't believe I haven't talked about this on the channel before, but it is so handy. I think it's actually the very first mod I did on my truck ever back when I got it 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. But remote start. My third gen using the factory remote starts by just pressing the lock button 3 times because for like $150 I think years ago, and I don't think it's changed much, I installed this very easy to install up under the dash without removing anything remote starter. And there's no splicing of wires. If I recall, it's very simple plug and play. But now on those freezing winter days, when my truck's covered in snow, or at least when I lived in Colorado when I couldn't fit in the garage, I just beep, 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 and start right up. My windows would defrost. You can do the same thing on a hot day with the air conditioning, but a remote start really has its perks. Don't go to some place to get it installed. It's just not worth it. They're going to charge you $500 for what you could have done for $150, and probably put in the exact same one. All right, a must-have. Many of us on the front differential, when draining the differential fluid, have found that thanks to Toyota's unusually high torque spec of 48 foot-pounds from the factory on the front differential, the drain plug is incredibly tight. In fact, mine was so tight, I had to get it welded to pop off just to break that guy free. And because I tried everything, I ruined 2 Allen sockets. It was just not going to budge. I rounded out, of course, the nut very quickly. Why Toyota did use like a hex socket drain plug on the 3rd gen and is doing it again on the 4th gen is beyond me. I haven't checked the torque spec on the 4th gen front diff, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same as the 3rd gen. Toyota just didn't learn, I guess. But, the upgrade is a Lexus part number, which I'll link below, but it's replacing the front differential with a standard, like, hex cap drain plug, like that we're used to seeing. So you can actually put a socket or a full wrench on there. And it's so cheap to replace, and it's going to save you so many headaches. So I definitely recommend changing that out to the Lexus part. Okay, big one that I can't stand in the NA section is, so I consider the OTT tune the epic end-all be-all best mod for our trucks, but on the opposite end of the spectrum is a kind of silly pedal commander. And while the OTT tune is reprogramming your shifting in your ECU, so your truck's computer, so it's got smoother and more appropriate shift points along its RPM band, your pedal commander, which is just a gimmicky little piece of plastic, whatever, some people like them, All it's doing is tricking your truck into thinking that when you push, for example, you push your accelerator 1 inch, the pedal commander says, "Hey truck, it just got pushed 2 inches." It's silly, and it's going to get you to feel like you have more power, but it's not doing a dang thing for shifting. They've been known to cause some pretty bad errors in some cases with R and other types of vehicles. So I just say just avoid the pedal commander at all costs when you could do the real thing and get an actual tune installed on your truck. I've said enough. All right, where was I? Okay, cool, little nice thing to have. I'll let another Discord member show what they won about this piece, but this is a tucked away compartment up under our center console that's really neat, and you can hide things in there, which whatever, but it's just giving you extra space up in our center consoles that didn't previously exist. So without further ado,
a 2020 Tacoma, and just yesterday on the Team Oil Drive Discord, which you should totally join, this was given away, this product here, for Freebie Friday. Pretty cool thing Tyler does. So if you want to check that out, join. And this is going to be a little short video showing how to install it, what you can fit in there, and everything you can do with it. Got the container itself. Let's see what we can, let's see how easy this is, if it'll fit, and if it will fit with the tray over it, or in it. The adhesives. And I'm very happy about this. With the cover, or with this organizing tray, that I believe is from the same company. So now I've effectively subdivided my center console into 3 compartments. Bottom, I'll call deep storage, the organizing tray, and now this top cover. Well, I'll just show you what I've managed to fit in here. I managed to fit a Cliff Bar, one Cliff Bar, another lighter. I also managed to fit in here a tube of mascara for your partner, for you, whoever you may be. One 15-round Glock magazine. I think this is a pretty good product. Thank you, Tyler, for sending it over. Hopefully this video helps some people out. And yeah, great find.
I like how it went from the mascara to the Glock mag. But you are welcome, brother. And thanks for covering the product. Sorry, it took me 5 years to finally get around to using that footage, but thanks. And, you know, I did this on all my previous Tacomas, but I've not done it to my current 3rd gen yet, and I really need to. But just LED light upgrade for our interior, so much better. I was trying to install my kid's son's car seat in my 3rd gen the other day, and it was just so dim I had to go get a headlamp to actually see my way around and put the belts in right, because it was at night. And the factory lights in the cabins of our trucks, at least in my 2016, are not very bright. So for a very cheap fee, you can upgrade to some actual genuine LEDs, just plug and play replacement, and it's worth it. It really is. I've put them on other vehicles. I need to do it on my 2016, but here's another video got covering that from another guy that won these in the Discord.
So these are the lights that I won in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, you should be, because you can get stuff like this for free. But they're definitely worth the money and the upgrade if you're looking for something like this.
You can really tell the difference between, I know we're only looking at the after in that video there, but like I said before I started up your clip, it is dim in my truck in comparison, so I need to put those in my 3rd gen. But thanks for sending in that clip, brother. See ya. Great mod. It's not for everyone, but I love it. So the bed rug system is awesome. And I have mine under a cap. It's extremely comfortable. It fills in the gaps with pre-cut filling in the ribs in your bed, like your linked running ribs. It's now got a proper foam system that goes in between that, so you have a very comfortable flat surface to camp in, to sleep in. Again, mine's out of the elements under the cap, but it's not an absorbent material. Although it feels like carpet, it does not retain water. In fact, the ad even shows most people don't have camper shells with it, but it is a dirt bike in the back with a can of gas next to it. It does not absorb things. It just it can get rained on. It's all weather, and it's just a really neat item, and it's fun and easy to install. So yeah, bed rug system. I love it. All right, moving on. To me, this is a must. Improved charging on the inside of our trucks. We all know the wireless charger is gimmicky and kind of trash. It likes to swell, and so I never use that thing. The 4th gen is better. Not by a lot, but it is better. I'll talk on that later in another video. But I installed in my truck both passenger or driver and passenger side these, and they're great. I have, I think, what's my wattage on the out? I can't remember. 40 watt maybe out. Anyway, the USB-C fast charging. I think I've got 2 or 3 USB-C ports on each block. 2 USB-Cs and 1 USB-A, and it's giving me a readout my battery's current voltage, and I love that. Okay, we're almost done here. Let's go back down to, nah, don't do it. Okay. You ever walking down the aisle of like Walmart or something and you see all your oil options and you think, oh, high mileage, advanced, premium. Okay, relax. You can pretty much put any of those oils into your truck, assuming it's 0W20 synthetics. But forget, anyway, what I'm saying is, assuming you're running the proper weight of oil, what is infinitely more important than brand is intervals on how often you're changing your oil. So when you see an oil bottle that says good for 20,000 miles or protection for 20,000 miles, it's taking advantage of people. It really is. I hate that. Will your truck die if you change oil once every 20,000 miles? No. Will it last a long time, like Big Old Beef, who's now north of 400,000 miles, or the used sturgeon we just talked about in the Discord that was at 425,000 miles and looks still brand new? It's not going to make it that far. Heck no. Do your truck a favor, change your oil at 5,000 mile intervals, not 10,000, even though Toyota says it's okay, and not 20,000, regardless of what that crap, shame on them, says on the bottle at Walmart or AutoZone, or wherever you find it. All right, going up the list. Nice to me, I've got 4Runner rims on my truck. They mate up perfectly fine. They have a slightly different offset that pushes them out ever so slightly, giving a slightly aggressive stance without running spacers. I think they're just really good looking rims. So if you get on Facebook Marketplace and find some aftermarket Toyota rims from either another Tacoma or whatever style suits you from a 5th gen 4Runner, I think they're sharp. So that's an upgrade I have and I really like. Cool Mod. Don't need it, but it's really neat. I have the Baxter adapter and a video on it. My 3rd gen uses spin-on filters. That's why I was saying I don't need any tools to change my oil. It's quicker, cleaner. It just feels like what an oil filter should be. And the 4th gen also has spin-on filters. Thank goodness Toyota went back to it. But that's just what they should have. So the Baxter adapter is worth looking into. I'll link it below to their website. But it's a neat thing. It really is. And it's solid machine steel and aluminum. Yes. There's no plastic anywhere on that thing. It's a quality item. You got to pay for it. It's not needed, but it's a quality item. Let's go up to a great item. Okay, I've had a lot of all-weather mats in my vehicles before, but I found a company that I really like who makes them a little different. The texture's different. They're very aesthetically pleasing, but they don't have those big ridges that can also catch dirt sometimes. They just look really good, and I've got them in my 3rd gen. I'll link them below. They're lightweight also. I like everything about them, and they don't curl like factory Toyota all-weather mats do. They don't curl at these sides over time. They look really good, easy to clean. So all-weather mats, regardless of whatever brand you pick, are a must for sure. Or they're great. I don't want to say must. Must is the next category. Okay, a must item. 3rd gen Tacomas were designed so intelligently that the condensation from our AC compressors or from our AC systems would like to drip out of a drain tube directly onto the frame. Some states or some areas, not a big deal, but states that are more prone to rust, huge deal. It's really a weak point that could start building up rust on your frame in that specific area. So what we do, you've probably seen or read about the AC drain mod. We simply buy a piece of heater hose, not a different type of hose. It'll melt being so close to your exhaust manifolds, but a piece of heater hose that's going to reroute that drip, and I got a whole video on it. So the AC drain mod, in my opinion, is a must. Check it out. All right, let's go down to a nah section before I reveal one more thing, which is epic. In my opinion, nah section, don't do the sound deadening mod on your Tacomas, regardless of what a 4 or 5 year old post said on Tacoma World. I've already debunked it. You don't need to try to. Well, let me just say this. The only way to truly make your cabin in your Tacoma a little quieter in the 3rd gen is actually sound deadening mat, the adhesive stuff that you're putting up on the metal from the inside after you remove door panels, wiring, and things are getting in the way from applying that. And if you don't want to bother with that, because I don't think you need to, just don't bother with the sound deadening mod where you're putting rubber line up in the door jambs all the way around. Don't bother with it. It's a waste of time and money. Okay, so if you anxiously waited for the final reveal of the epic thing, well, this might be a little sad for you, but that's okay. I still think it's the most important mod of our vehicle, short of paying them off, which is the ultimate mod. The what do we call it? The the zero payment mod or something. But what that fly is back. Maintenance and proper maintenance is paramount above all of these, because you can have a decked out truck with all of these neat little creature comforts, gizmos, gadgets, winches, etc., but if you're not taking care of what's under the hood and under the belly or in the transmission and the differentials, you're moving nice furniture into a house that is just dilapidating. So take care of your trucks.
You can definitely tell it's darker than the without the Lavam. It's dark still because it was so overdue with I was about 5,000 miles, but you can definitely tell with the liquid moly it is much darker. And this is my 2018 Tacoma. Thanks, Tyler, for letting me help you on your YouTube.
Big Dave, I promise at some point I will get all that footage together and show these people just how good liquid moly is in our engines. But thanks, man, for sending that footage in 100 years ago. Same with Mike. I'm finally getting around to using it. But yeah, brother, thanks. Stay safe, doing what you do. Follow any guide, whether it's the one the channel has or whatever you want, and take care of your trucks at their proper intervals. One, they'll last significantly longer, if not arguably, well, nothing lasts forever. That's a catchphrase, but but our trucks have already proven to be 500,000-mile trucks if taken care of. There's already examples out there pushing into the 500,000 miles of the 3rd gen 3.5 V6. So take care of your trucks and it'll take care of you. None of this other stuff matters if you're not maintaining what's going on under the hood. So I think I've said enough on that. But yeah, these are all the things I have done on my 3rd gen that I think have greatly improved the overall experience, namely especially the epic section. They really are a game changer, and that OTT tune is just phenomenal. I've got more videos on all these things. I've got links for most of these things that you might decide to buy or not. Hopefully nothing feels like I've peddled any kind of gimmicky thing to you, because everything here serves a purpose in my mind. So yeah. I think that's about it. It is now 9 p.m. on the East Coast. I got work tomorrow, but I wanted to take a break and talk to you guys about this stuff. So I hope all of y'all have a great night, and I'll be talking to you again here real soon with more videos on the 3rd gen and a whole video suite coming on the 4th gen. I feel like I had something else to talk about. We covered Austin. We covered the Discord, giveaways. Hop in the Discord. I'm serious. A lot of really helpful, good people in there. I can't think of anything else. This video's already gone way too long. If you watched the whole thing, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time on Team Oil Drop.